again, everyone. Thank you for being here and for sharing this 1 hour and a half with me. I believe you're all officers. So I would like to ask you an officer's question. When it comes to membership in your club, what are your goals? What are your goals for membership? Alexandra.
My goals are and have been every time I've been vice president of membership is to talk to people, and not only as vice president of membership, but also other officers to talk to guests to come, talk about Toastmasters with people they know or even don't know. But the goal is, in my club, some of the clubs have trouble getting enough members, is to work our hardest to get more members again that we had before the pandemic.
Well, thank you. Yes. Okay. So your goal is to get more members. Alberto, what is your goals for as an officer for your club when it comes to membership?
So I'm officer for public relationships. So my goal is to spread the word, basically, about Toastmasters, and then to publish, for example, on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, to try to get to as many people as possible, and with the goal, of course, of getting the current members to renew, and of course to try to get new members. So in some way, similar to Alexandra, increase the number of members.
Yes.
But in general, to communicate outside what Toastmasters is about.
Yes, perfect. So increase membership. What about Sylvine?
Yeah, my home club is quite small. We are about 10 members. And I would say the objective would be to reach 20 members. And actually, just recently, it's a bit late to suggest the idea, but we did a kind of campaign to pay before today to get the discount for the next period. And we managed to recruit 2 new members. So we should be about 12 now.
All right. So again, it's recruiting new members.
Yes.
Hanzade, can you answer this question as well?
Yes. I have worked firstly as secretary and then VP education, and now I'm the president of the club. We are a closed club. The members are from the same alumni of a college. So our primary goal is to reach our alumni, of course, which are interested in Toastmasters. Actually, this is not only the goal that to always increase the number of the members. Of course, it is important. But it is also important that the meetings should be enjoyable, that we can share good moments with each other. We can learn, we can spend good time because everybody is busy with a lot of things. And when we get together, it should be a good communication and a good sharing of knowledge, I think.
Yes, of course. So again, we talk about finding new members, but also finding enjoyable moments, having a lively club. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you all mentioned finding new members for different reasons, but finding new members. That's a very important role for any officer, for a club. But we also have the retention goal, which is keeping the members that we already have. So these are usually, for most clubs, the main goals when it comes to membership. Getting new people to infuse new energy into our club, or to reach a viable number, and also keeping our members happy. Although these are two different goals, and usually there are two different officers that take care of these goals, the VPPRs on one hand and the VPMs on the other, both of these goals have a common ground, have a common denominator. And that common denominator is happiness, is the members' happiness when they find that what we offer in our club, what Toastmasters International offers as an educational program and what we do in our club matches what they are looking for. There is a match there. What we offer and what they're looking for, their goals, their needs are met. We have happy members. We will have happy guests that will be enthusiastic and that will join our club. And we will have happy members that will continue to get value from the club. Okay, and so they will stay. Now, if this match between what we offer and what people are looking for is so important, then we really need to focus on the message that we put out there in order to reach the people who are going to get the most value out of what we do and what we have to offer. Does it make sense to you? If we find the people who are really going to get value out of what we do because we meet what their needs are, then we are going to have happy members, happy guests that will join and a happy member that will stay. Therefore, this is what the webinar is all about tonight, and that is understanding how to create a message, which I call the marketing pitch, that targets the right kind of audience out there that is going to benefit the most from what we do. So let me get into this sharing here, because there's a lot to look at. Okay, so when we talk about creating a marketing pitch, we need to create a targeted marketing pitch to get those people that we just talked about, the ones that are going to benefit from it. And in order to be able to attract the right kind of audience, we need to do what? We need to target our audience. Do you know what targeting an audience means or is about? Just raise your hand if you do. Okay, you know already how to target an audience. So I will breeze through this real quick, and I will give you an example that comes from our everyday life. Here it is. We all need to buy toothpaste, don't we? And when we go to a supermarket to buy toothpaste, we see a huge number of different kinds, maybe hundreds of them, different packages, different colors, and especially different claims. Why do you think there are so many different claims? Well, the reason for that is that the market has been targeted. For who? For instance, children, school-age children that hate to brush their teeth. So they will need a product that is going to entice them, that it tastes good, like maybe like chewing gum or sweet strawberry, perhaps. It's been targeted for younger adults, the ones that are starting to date and they need their breath real fresh, their breath, right? Or perhaps the older, the adult population who might want to get their bright smile again, or the senior population where they need specific products for their problems. Therefore, the market is segmented, and the reason for that is so that the manufacturers, but not only the manufacturers, but also service providers, can really get to understand better the different segments, understand what their needs are, what their goals and needs are, in order to produce products that really will meet those needs. Not only do they segment, and how they do that, well, they do that through research. They will choose a parameter, like in this case, I chose an age groups. They will divide it into groups. They will have surveys and interviews and try to understand really what that segment needs and wants, and then create avatars. Felix is an avatar. Joe is an avatar. Mary is an avatar. What does that mean? It represents It's an average representation of that segment. Why is it important to create avatars, which are also called, by the way, personas? Personas are physical representation, like in this case, where we can even give them a name and a set of goals and needs and characteristics. When these personas are created so that the marketing teams and also the manufacturing teams make it easier for them to step into their shoes, because you can identify them better than just having some data on a spreadsheet. You actually get to see them. So is that clear what marketing segmentation is and what a persona is? Yes?
Yep.
Any questions so far? Because this is a very important thing, because we're going to be based on this. All right, so let's go on to the next question. And that is, now that we understand personas, are personas relevant to Toastmasters? Anyone says yes? Yeah. Well, I don't see the other ones. Well, anyone says no, maybe? Well, the good answer is yes. In fact, in 2016, Toastmasters International has conducted a research, which is worldwide research. And they have created 8, what they call focus groups. That means 8 different groups in different cities, mostly in the US, really, but also in Bangalore, India, Shanghai, China, and London for Europe. And they have interviewed, they have given surveys to these groups, made interviews. What they wanted to know was why they joined Toastmasters in the first place. What was their goals? What were their needs, etc. And from the data analysis of the data they have collected, they have come up with 6 member personas, 6 distinct member personas, which are the groupings, the target, the segment, the target groups that we have in Toastmasters. I'm going to read them out to you. Just think back at your club and your experience and see if you can match real people that you know in Toastmasters with these personas. The first one is the young professional. Any young professionals in your club? Most likely, yes. The next one is the self-help enthusiasts. We have several of them. They are the guys and the girls that take all courses out there. And they are very enthusiastic about any course. Then we have the career advancer. This is especially a very important persona, especially for corporate clubs, but they can be in community clubs as well. The retiree, those who are pensioned, and they join usually for the company and to have, you know, a good time with the club, and then they end up volunteering because nobody else has the time to do things, and so they do it. And then we have the mature managers that really need that extra push there for to end their career better, or to learn new things, new skills. And finally, the international professional. We may have all of these in our clubs, or we know in Toastmasters, or we may just have 1 or 2 of these. But in any event, according to Toastmasters International, these are the major personas that are out there and that are benefiting the most from the Toastmasters International program. For tonight's webinar, I am taking the career advancer as our persona, and we're going to be creating a pitch to attract that segment of the market. It's very interesting, actually, to look at this study here, because for each one of those personas, they have created cards, like the one that you see here. This is the career advancer card, but for each of the other personas, you get these cards. What you see in these cards are 2 sets of information. The first one is the description. It's a description of the needs, pain points, and goals of that particular persona. So the career advancer typically join to advance career, of course. They will leave if skills do not continue to improve or don't have enough time. So by this, we know that time for these people is of the essence. They have some confidence and speaking abilities already. They researched other development options before joining. They're seeking constructing evaluation and practice, and I often had an embarrassing incident that drove them to Toastmasters. Of course, specific people will be maybe a little bit different, but on average, the career advancer is described by this by these sentences. In this card, you also find another very interesting information, and that is focus areas. It's a bar graph on a scale of 0 through 10, where 0 is, of course, no interest at all, and 10 is top interest, in 6 areas, in 6 different areas, and they are career, mentoring, social, passion, fear and anxiety, and confidence. To me, anything that is 5 or below is not as much of an area of focus for that particular persona, whereas 6 and above is a focus area. And the higher the number, the more the focus, of course. Now, let's look at our career advancer here. Career gets a 10 out of 10 on that bar graph, of course. That's what's on his mind or her mind. When you get a guest that comes to your meeting, and from the initial questions that you may ask, you can identify that it belongs to this category, to this persona. You know what you should be addressing in the conversation, because that person is going to listen. And if you can show that you can support his or her advancement, career advancement, that person is going to be very interested in what we do. Mentoring only gets a 4 out of 10. So when a career advancer, when they come to our meetings, they're not so much interested in either mentoring or being mentored. They are not that much interested also in the social events of our club, because their mind is set on career advancement. So just talking about how fun it is to, after the meeting, to go out for drinks or go out for pizza is not really going to be a selling point for this particular persona. It may be for other personas, but not for this one. Passion, that means passion for the club. At the beginning, it doesn't have much passion for the club. It might then be built later on. Fear and anxiety still scores low, because this persona usually already has a good speaking, some experience, let's say, about speaking. And so therefore they're not as nervous, and they want, though, to build confidence. They need that. So for each one of those personas, you will find cards like these, which are very valuable, both for VPPRs, VPE, VPMs, and also presidents. Let's move on to part number 2. Now that we understand personas, and that we have the persona that we're going to look at tonight with answer, we're going to move into the formula for the marketing pitch, how to attract this sort of persona in this case. It's called a formula because it has 4 elements to it, but there is no math involved. We're going to look at each one of these elements now and in detail, and then we are going to create the pitch, put it all together. Before we get into the formula, though, I want you to meet Joe. Joe is our career advancer persona, the guy that I would print out and put behind my computer screen if I were to create a marketing campaign for Toastmasters to attract this sort of persona. Joe is a 32-year-old. He lives in Milan. He's a junior manager. As you can see, I dressed him up the part. He has a big smile, and he looks prim and proper as a junior manager. Together with all that description that we already have from the data that was collected by Toastmasters International, we can prepare a card and refer to it. It will help us every time we write a piece of content. Anytime we write an email where we have to present something to a person like this, we need to keep in mind about Toastmasters, of course. We need to keep in mind what we already know, and also this avatar here. Now, we know that his main goal is career advancement, right? We know that very well by now. But if we are to create a campaign for this, and we therefore talk about what's on his mind, that is career advancement in the first post, 3 days later, we again post about career advancement. And the next week, we again post about career advancement with little tweaks, but the main thing is that, guess what? We become boring, uninteresting. So what we need to do here is take the main goal and acquire a larger vocabulary. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to break down the goal in different subjects that are related to the main goal. How are we going to do that? Well, as Toastmasters, we focus on soft skills. So we might ask ourselves, what are soft skills that are needed for a younger manager to advance in his or her career? And we can, of course, brainstorm about this, either by ourselves, with our team. However, brainstorming may not be the best solution, because it's always a personal thing. It's what I know. It's what I think. What usually marketers do, and what I suggest that we do here, is do a little bit of a research and see what is out there. What are the skills that are in demand right now for younger managers to advance in their careers, or younger professionals? I have searched the internet for you, and I found 2 websites. One is Indeed, and the other one is Monster, which these are 2 worldwide recruiting companies. And on their website, they have these lists, updated lists of what is in demand now, what recruiters are actually looking for, what hiring companies are looking for. And I have compiled a list of these. Okay, so the first one is written and verbal communication is in demand. Teamwork, problem solving, conflict resolution, leadership, persuasion, feedback, time management, and of course, confidence. Now, we have broken down the career advancement subject and gained more words, more vocabulary, more subjects that we can talk about with Joe, our guest, when he shows up at our meetings, that we are sure are going to be of interest to him. The reason for that being is that as a junior manager, he's most likely in touch with employees. He might even be leading a team or 2. And as we know, with employees, there may be some problems to solve. So problem solving, if we talk about problem solving, is something you can relate to. Teams sometimes go into conflict. So conflict resolution is definitely on his mind. Persuasion, the confidence to talk to higher management, to bring requests from their team, from his team, from the employees to the higher management. It takes confidence, it takes persuasion abilities, etc. So when we talk about these subjects, he will listen. The main goal and the breakdown of the main goal is therefore the first element that we will need in our pitch. Is everything clear so far? All right. Next, now we know what he needs. What about what we can offer? Well, here, this is a second element, and it's also a very important one, because it's that matching game that I was talking about in the beginning. We know what he needs, we know his pain points, we know his goals. But what can we do to support those goals, to fulfill those needs? And that's that matching game here. So I've taken the first one on the list, which was written and verbal communication. And let's see what Toastmasters offers can be for that. Well, first of all, we have 11 pots, and each one offers 14 to 38 speeches. Each speech we know needs to be written personally, and then it has to be delivered in front of the audience. So a lot of training can go into this. A lot of practice really can go into for written and verbal communication. Each speech, by the way, gets feedback for improvement. He will learn how to receive feedback and apply it so that he can improve, and as well learn how to give feedback. Remember, feedback is also on that list. And we also have 2 paths which are dedicated to improving written and verbal communication, which are presentation mastery and engaging humor. We most likely have other things that we could offer. This is just a selection. How do we know? Well, my question actually is, for this second very important element of our pitch, is sometimes as officers, I know here officers tonight here have a lot of experience, some of them, but sometimes club officers only have a few months experience into Toastmasters, or maybe a year or 2. So how do they know the comprehensive offer that Toastmaster has? Well, there are 2 documents which have been created by Toastmasters International that can help marketers here. The first one, the one on the left-hand side, is about pathways. We have 11 paths, and this resource here goes over 5 different core competencies that we can all develop through our pathways. The first one is public speaking, interpersonal communication, strategic leadership management, and confidence. And as you can see on the right-hand side, these competencies have numbers, and they are matched each one of those paths. So this is very precious information when we need to go and create a pitch. Plus, in this document here, there are more pages, and in each page, you will find more information about each path and which skills precisely can be developed through each path. So this is a very important document for our reference. Besides, the second important document is the features, benefits, and value. It's made up of 4 columns. The first one, when it comes to offer, this is what we're going to look at, because there are features that are important offers to people. Like, for instance, one of the features here is that we practice in small groups, we do table topics, we get feedback, etc. You read them. By the way, at the end of this webinar, I haven't spoken with Elena, but I do have a PDF where you can find all this information, including these documents here, the research that I shown earlier about the personas, etc. You find all in that PDF, so you can reference it there. The other 3 columns here in the second document are about benefits. Benefits is going to be the 4th element, and we will go back to this when we get to benefits. The 3rd element of our pitch is going to be a call to action. There is no effective pitch without a call to action. People need to be told what to do next, what we expect of them, or what they can do, what they can achieve. And for our pitch here, where can we find those call to actions? Well, actually, call to actions are verbs. They're power verbs, and we can find them in the activities that we do in our club. For instance, in our clubs, we learn, we practice, we can get help, we train, we master, we experience, join. Just a few. Hands-on learning. We do hands-on learning. We learn by doing. We get support. We receive feedback. We can network. We can volunteer. This is just a selection of a few. I'm sure you can think of others. These are power verbs. They are verbs that we will use for our call to action. I will show you exactly how to do that when we put it all together. 3rd element. Let's go now into the last one, which is the benefit. This is so important. The benefits, even though it's the last one, is one of the most important. It's so important that Toastmasters has given it the bigger part of this document. And it has divided benefits into 3 different categories. On the second column there, you find a list of general benefits and improvements. Why is benefits so important in a pitch? Well, because people now understand that you are in touch with them, you get what they want. You tell them what they need to do, but in the end, how are they going to benefit from what you're offering? What's in it for them? That's why benefits are so important, of course, to put in a pitch, very clear benefits. The first column there is the list of general benefits. That means improvements that we all get just by joining Toastmasters. Doesn't matter which path we choose, doesn't matter if we stay 10 years or maybe just a year or two, we are all going to get these benefits just by hanging around long enough. Some of them could be flexibility. We gain flexibility. We improve our critical thinking. When we give evaluations, we need to really start to think critically, don't we? We learn how to overcome our fears just by standing there in front of our club, and self-confidence, and we gain self-confidence employees. There's others there. This is just a selection, of course. We're then going to get into the third column here, which are benefits to the individual. And they are benefits which are a little bit, they overlap the second column, but they are also more tied more into what we do in a club, if we take on officer roles, for instance, or which path we are going to take. Some of them could be unlimited personal growth. This is still a general one. We can improve, become clearer communicator, improve our communication. We learn how to lead meetings effectively just by taking on roles, don't we? We can grow our leadership, again, by taking on officer roles, for instance, at club level, area level, district level, division. We can advance our careers through learning all of these skills, and we can have a positive return on the money that we invest in joining Toastmasters. And finally, the last column is about the list of benefit to a company. This is especially important if you are planning on opening a club in a corporate environment, or perhaps you already have a club in a corporate environment and you need new funds, new funding for the club to continue. Toastmasters has created a list there for people to pitch company management. Some of the benefits that they list there are enhanced performance, more productive teams, effective meetings, increased productivity, increased retention, and cost-effective training. The benefits here are those three columns. What you can do, well, let me say it this way. When you are doing a pitch, sometimes you might be thinking, well, am I bragging here a little bit? Is it really possible to achieve certain kind of goals, certain kind of benefits through Toastmasters? Again, we may not have enough experience. However, Toastmasters International has created this list, this reference for us, because on average, by and large, people who go through the program get these sort of benefits. So we are in line with Toastmaster guidelines when we talk about these benefits in our pitch. Okay, so now we have the 4 elements. Let's start building that pitch, shall we? The first thing we need to do, it's a two steps process, so it's quite simple, really. The first step is to address the goal or concern. We talked about that a lot. We have not only the career advancement, but we have all those subjects, remember? Those subjects, for instance, could be the subject of 9 or 10 different pitches. So we take one of them and we address that just like we would a speech. When we begin a speech, any mentor will tell you that it's good to grab attention, either through a question or perhaps through a statement that will get the attention. And the same thing is here with a pitch. We can start our pitch either with a question or with an attention-grabbing statement. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. For conflict resolution, a statement could be office conflict. Teamwork suffers the consequences. This is a statement, it's not a question, but our Joe there, our persona there, will definitely be able to connect with this, because office conflict is something that he has experienced, is experiencing, or is afraid of experiences in the future. And he knows that the consequences really are on the work that the team can produce. So this will get the attention for sure. But we can also put it another way. We can ask, are you experiencing conflict at the office? As our first entry sentence. For verbal communication, we can say, can effective communication influence career progress? Again, you see, we are concentrating on those subjects that he's interested about. Career progress, and we're talking about effective communication here, or saying from boring to captivating. Train your speech delivery for career advancement. These are just examples. Is it clear that we need to address a subject of interest to that group? And we can do that either through a question or through an attention statement, grabbing statement. Is that clear? Anyone? Or are there questions about this? No questions. Okay, so let's go to the second step.
Thank you, Paola. These are all clear. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Hassan. Okay, so let's go on to the second part, which is a little bit more complex, but it's still easy. It's just more complex because it's made out of those three elements. The call to action, but we have our call to action, don't we? We have all our verbs. The offer, we just talked about it. We have lots to offer. We have the resources to go and look it up. And the benefits, again, we have all the resources to look up the benefits if we need to. Now let's put them together. With conflict resolution, for instance, join our Toastmasters Club to practice conflict resolution skills and become a more effective leader. This is an example. Now we have the call to action. Join and practice. Join and practice. It tells everything. It tells the person that they need to join our club if they want to practice, or if they join our club, they will be able to practice. Just in one little tiny sentence, it tells it all. What our Toastmasters, of course, we put it into a context, and our offer is conflict resolution skills, to practice the conflict resolution skills and become a more effective leader. That's a benefit. He needs to become a better leader if he wants to advance his career. And then I have added here a couple of hashtags. Hashtags are very useful. I'm sure you all are familiar with hashtags. You see them everywhere. They're keywords. They are the keywords that search engines can read to really make sense of what our content is about. And they help us. They help people find the content that we publish. But they also have a very important role here, because there are keywords and there are concentrate of meaning. In this case, for instance, not only do we say become a more effective leader, but we also talk about career advancement, which is a concept. Without having to write another sentence, just with that one word, we add a concept to the sentence and also learn skills. So let's use them sparingly, just 2 or 3 or 4 of them, no more, but let's use them to add meaning to our sentence, besides adding them to be found by search engines. Let's see another one, verbal communication, master. This is a very strong power word. Master the art of speech delivery and make a lasting impact on your audience. And then engage in presentation, inspiring delivery, and practice with purpose. Again, concepts there. So this is how you create the second part of the pitch. So the first one is to grab the attention through a question or a sentence or a statement. And then use the call to action, the context, of course, the offer and the benefit. I'm going to show you how to put it all together into a single one. But before we do that, I would like to ask you a question, because when I get to this point, I'll always tell people that I see very, very long captions attached to posts on Twitter, on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc., Instagram. People write long, long captions. I suggest here to write 200 characters, more or less, which is very, very short, by the way. And do you know why? I'd like to open the floor here and hear your answers. Why do we need to write very short captions for social media? Any ideas?
Hi.
Hello?
I can tell from myself.
Okay.
I don't want to read long posts because I don't have time or patience to read long posts. I always look for some key words, key items to understand what the post is all about, and if it is usable for me. Another thing, I find very long videos or posts a bit disrespectful for my time. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, so you're talking about time is of the essence here. You don't want to waste time, and you want to go straight to something that is important to you. Is that what you said?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, I see there is a comment here. Let me see what it says. It says, due to online attention span of people. Great. Yes, Denise, that is perfect. In fact, time is really of the essence when it comes to posts, and I mean to captions, to writing for social media. And the reason for that is in this thing here, that Meta itself, which is Facebook and Instagram, has published it's one of their data analysis results, and they say that every second when it comes on mobile matters. By the way, people will look at your posts 9 out of 10 on mobile. When it comes to newsfeed on Facebook, they see people spend on average 1.7 seconds with a piece of content on mobile compared to 2.5 seconds on desktop. And this was, by the way, done in the 2016, 2017, I think. So my guess is that this has dropped. This means that people, as was just said, do not have the time to read long, drawn-out captions. Although these social platforms will allow you thousands of characters, don't use them. They're useless. Don't waste your time creating this. Create something which is very to the point, like the pitch that we just looked at. And it's very clear in its message and to the point, and that people can read immediately, get immediately the point, and then maybe they will stop and look more. So let's see how to create a 200 characters, more or less, social media caption. Here is the example. Say goodbye to office conflict. That's our entry sentence. Join, which is our verb, our vibrant Toastmasters club. Again, it's a context for hands-on learning, which is, of course, the offer that we have, experience. And conquer. Conquer is a very strong power verb. Disagreements with confidence. Just in a few characters, we said a lot. Enough to stop Joe there and want to know more. Again, I put in some emoticons because we're talking about social media. Of course, if you're doing this for LinkedIn, you might want to skip the emoticons. But if you're doing it on Facebook or perhaps Instagram, then you might want to add them. And then again, the hashtags. You might see here that I've added a couple of city hashtags. Well, it depends, of course, where your club is. If I just put Athens and Milan, but if you are in Istanbul, for instance, or you are in Vienna, wherever you are, you would just put hashtag and the name of your neighborhood of your city, so that the search engines will understand that this content here can be interesting for people who live in that particular area. Don't skip the city. And now there is one more thing that I would like to say about this is many times I see that besides the caption, we also share a lot of information when it comes to clubs, like where are we located? When are we meeting? Who are the speakers tonight? Things like this. Well, don't do that there in the caption. Just write something else. Just say, learn more at, and then you insert there your link, which could be your website if you have one, or it could be your meetup or your Eventbrite or a landing page that you've created. Because the idea here is that people, remember those 1.7 seconds there? They've given their attention. Maybe in that time, they will get new notifications. They will get something else distracting them. You want to keep them, you want to take them away from social media and bring them to a quieter place where you can explain where you are, how they can join, how they can reach you through the email, maybe through a telephone, whatever. So you don't want to keep them on social media. You want to take them away. If you've done a good job with your pitch, the person will follow you. They will learn more at. So this is very important as well. Don't just put all that information there because people will not look at it. And now, finally, we have the little magic element that we'd like to add to our marketing pitch. And that has to be, of course, pictures. They say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. I don't know if you say this everywhere in the world. I know we have an international audience here tonight. We definitely say that in Italy and many parts of the world. And it is partly true. Actually, it's worth a little bit more. A picture is said to be processed by the brain. Studies show this, that it can be processed by the brain 60,000 times faster than a piece of text, even a short piece of text. We see an image, we understand a lot. We understand context, we understand emotions, we understand what is meant by the words. So that is extremely important knowledge here. Pictures are really important when it comes to sharing our pitch or sharing our ideas, sharing our message through social media. So we cannot be careless about the pictures that we choose. Let me get into this a little bit here. Well, first of all, before we even look at the pictures, I would like to talk about the 20% text rule. Has anyone heard about this? Well, this comes from Facebook, really. Over the years, Facebook has enforced the 20% text rule for everyone who wanted to share paid ads. I mean, people who did marketing, real marketing, paying marketing through Facebook were to abide to the 20% text rule. And this is what it looks like. If this is the post, say you divide it into 25 spaces, you get only 5 spaces to use for text. The rest needs to be a picture. It may seem like very, very little text. I know, and it is. But the reason for this is that they've shown that through their data analysis, they have found that the ads that performed the best were the ones that were abiding by the 20% text rule. You only get 5 spaces, so use them wisely. What are you going to put there in those 5 spaces? Well, of course, the very first sentence there that we have worked on our pitch, right? We want to either attract the attention through a question maybe, or through a statement. We will look at that in detail later. And by the way, This rule is also concerns also the logos. So if you're using a logo in a post there, you lose one of those spaces because the logo counts as well. So this is what the 20% text rule is about. Now, Facebook is not enforcing it any longer. Recently, it has decided not to enforce it anymore. However, it still remains a very, very strong recommendation for people who are doing advertising. And if it works for advertisements, it works for us as well. When I look at the Toastmasters world, sometimes I see posts like these. And I really feel for the people who have worked so hard and spent so much time creating these posts, because nobody is going to look at these or read these in 1.7 seconds. So please don't do this. Keeping in mind the 20% text rule. It could be 25%, 30%, but don't go over that. So let me show you what it looks like. I created some posts here for you just to exemplify what I mean. All right, so pictures trigger emotions. This is the first one. So as soon as you look at this, you see this guy here, which could, by the way, be someone who Joe identifies with. It could be someone that is a career dancer. And he's showing a picture here in the background of a big microphone and a huge crowd. And the words read, difficult audience. Remember that question that we asked? Here we need to shorten it even more to make it effective. Because when someone looks at this, immediately they get the context and they read difficult audience. If they are in any way interested in this sort of subject, they will read on. We help you build your confidence is our claim, okay? We help you is we support you. We help you is that verb there, that call to action, that the power verb. And build your confidence is the benefit. Now, we haven't written a pitch yet, which it would be underneath of it, would be the caption. But this is enough for people to really get what we are talking about in that pitch there, in that caption that we have underneath there. Now, I want to show you something else. We'll keep the same sentence, but we're going to change context here because I want to show you how emotions are triggered and memories are triggered by pictures. Now, we've also changed persona. We have a student here. And I would like to know if, I'm sure really that all of us have an experience of a teacher, maybe like this one in the back for difficult audience, or maybe a parental figure of some kind, or maybe a boss. And when we see that, we immediately can identify with this little guy here that has a difficult audience to face. So that's what I mean when I say that we need to choose our pictures wisely when we want to create an emotion, we want to create a very strong post that goes together with the words, that supports the words, that people will read very fast even before they read the word. They will get the image, the emotion right there. Another example, in this case, we have the same message again, but I have changed personas again now, and also the context. In doing so, we are addressing different audience personas immediately. When you looked at this, I am sure that you immediately got the context. You immediately got who the groups are here, who are our targets. On the left-hand side, we're targeting the career advancers. On the right-hand side, we are targeting a much younger crowd, which could be the university students, for instance. This is another example. Getting to yes, learning persuasive communication. The context is different, and it's very well identified by the different pictures here. I'm sure that even if I were to give you this without the text, you could still give me a very good table topic about what's happening in those pictures. You could tell me, you know, a lot about this lady here who's a young professional who really needs to learn how to get people to saying yes to the agreements, etc. Whereas the other one is the young girl who needs to really be persuasive to get a good job. Just even without the text, you would be able to go on and tell me a story. So that's why pictures are a magic element, because they really, really expand, they skyrocket our marketing pitch. And then there is one final word that I would like to say before we move into the questions, and that is about Wordmarks, the use of Wordmarks and logos to add to our message. Usually I see that most people in Toastmasters use the round logo, which is fine, of course, because that's Toastmasters logos. But there is very little use of the Wordmarks, like the ones that you see here. And I would say that when you prepare material that is intended for the general audience, that means non-Toastmasters, people out there that still do not know us, and we're targeting them, it would be very, very important to use Wordmarks instead of the round logo. And the reason for that, even though it's not, of course, compulsory, it's a free choice, but my reason for saying this is that people have very short attention spans, like we already agreed upon. And by reading it out like this, it makes it easy for them to understand who's behind this post. Toastmasters International. If they never heard about it, it's very easy to Google. They don't have to look at the logo and see what it says. It's simple, it's right there. Besides, I especially like this one with the since 1924 wordmark. And the reason for this is that it really supports and expands on the trust factor. I mean, guys, since 1924, that means a century. That means that this company here, that means that Toastmasters International has been out there, has been successful for 100 years because it's still alive. It's still offering their services. How many companies can really say this? We should use this more. And if someone has never heard about Toastmasters International, just by saying since 1924, it will immediately create an image of a long-lasting company, of a long-lasting enterprise, someone who has been able to navigate through history and provide value for people because they're still here. And finally, another logo that I really see very little of is this one, the Toastmasters Pathways Learning Experience. When it is appropriate, it would be very good to use this, especially when it talks about something that you learn through Pathways. And the reason for that is that, again, it says Toastmasters and it says Pathways. Pathways, nobody knows what it is. But it does say learning experience. And when you take the whole context there, the picture, the words there, the message, and the learning experience, it gets people curious to Google what Pathways means. All right. So whenever it is appropriate, please do use it. It's there. You can download it from the resources on the brand portal. We get the logos, which are beautiful, the round logos, and we also get the word marks. So let's make sure that, especially when we talk to outside people, the general public, we make use of these. So to sum it up, a little recap here. We choose our target segment first. Remember, we have 6 different personas that Toastmasters International has come up with. We research their needs, their pain points, and goals. They've already done that, but we can expand upon them. We create a persona or avatar that we can relate to, and it makes it easy for us to create content that is on target. The 4 elements: pitch. A picture is worth 60,000 words. Maybe this is an exaggeration, but does take 60,000. It's our brain processes it 60,000 times faster. This is a fact. So let's make sure that we use the pictures, and then the 20% rule, less is more. Well, thank you so much. And I think now we have time for questions. Let me stop sharing.
Thank you very much, Paola. Very interesting workshop. And now I would like to invite our participants to raise their questions if there are any. Please raise your hand.
All right. Hassan. Hi, Hassan. How are you?
Hi, Paola. Hi, everybody. That's
Hello.
great. Thank you so much for this great presentation. I just want to add something because sometimes when you are using Instagram, it should be very useful to create some sliding posts. And also when people are so, since they don't have so much time to read this kind of post, they are just saving. So we can create some, for example, 5 tips for public speaking or something like that. Then whenever they saw that post, they are just saving. I know they never read it, but just saving for later. And when that post is saving, your interaction is always increased by Instagram. So I just want to mention this.
Yes, that's very important. Thank you, Hassan. Yes, some people do save posts. It's true. Not everybody does, unfortunately, but yes, it is a possibility. Also, we can plan to post at certain, tonight we're not getting into that, of course, but scheduling our post is also very important, and creating a whole campaign before we start posting. So not create one post one day and then think about what we're going to create next day, etc., but create a whole story. We take those subjects that we already know about, maybe 8, 10, 12 subjects, and we create 10, 12 posts that follow a story, okay? And then we post them maybe once a week, and once every 3 or 4 days. That depends on how much time we want to put into this. We create templates and then put in the pictures, the correct pictures, put in the correct text. So it's not that much work for BPPRs. And that will make a lot of sense, because as Hassan said, some people will save them. So it's important for them to see a progression, to see that we know about the subject, that we are experts of what we're talking about.
And maybe it will be better to share with all of us what is the best time to send these posts. You know, there's some algorithms, for example, Sunday in the morning or Wednesday evening or something like that. So if we know that what's the best reaction for all these kind of posts, then we can plan according to get the best reactions.
Well, that, Hassan,
do you have any?
A very good question. But really what it comes down to is it's a matter of local. You really need to search through your local audience. Because what could work for me in Italy or for Alexandra in Sweden may not work in Turkey as timing, I mean, because habits are different. Also, days of the week where people are off are different. We get Sundays off, Saturdays off. You might get Fridays off. I don't know. Okay, so it's different. Therefore, it needs to be put into a context of a local context. In general, I would say that people go and check social media at certain times. There are people who are always there scrolling, but people who work, if we're, for instance, addressing a corporate target, you know pretty much when they would have time to go and scroll through social media. So you don't post at 9 or 12 or 10 in the morning, at least not where I live, because people are working at that time. Okay, so it really depends. It depends.
Yeah, so we should post according to our targets.
Yes, of course. If you are posting for university students in your area, then you know what pretty much what the schedule is of a university student where you live. And then you think accordingly. You say, when would a student have time to check their social media? If you're posting for a corporate manager, you know, someone who works in a corporate environment, then you would have to post for that target if you need to choose the time.
Thank you so much, Paola.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Anyone else? Yes, Alexandra.
I was thinking, if I was going to do a pitch to someone, I would not have one of the first pitches being conflict, being with the word conflict. I would take positive things. Confidence, build your confidence, so on and so forth, but not have a word which is, for me, negative, conflict, at the beginning in a pitch.
Well, that really depends. However, usually what you do is you address a goal or you address a pain point. And a pain point typically could be negative.
Yeah.
But of course, you turn it around and you tell the person how they can overcome that. I'm sure you are familiar with commercials. I mean, general commercials. They most likely in the beginning talk about some sort of a problem. And then they show you how the product or the service is going to solve you that problem. That's the reason why, because they grab the attention. So if you don't have a problem with conflict, it will not, you know, you will just scroll by. It's not something that is going to grab your attention. But if you do have a problem with conflict, then you're going to stop. Our goal here is to support the people who are having specific type of issues, their pain points, and get their attention and let them know that we can help. Now, you can also start with the benefit, if you prefer, instead of the problem, addressing the problem as a first sentence. You can start with the benefit. It's a little bit less effective, but you can do that. Does that answer your question?
Actually, it wasn't a question. It was a suggestion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, because, I mean, okay, my clubs in Sweden, you know, we're happy. You know, we have a big mixture of people who work, people who don't work, people who study, people who are just starting, you know, working, and we have and me, retiree. You have everything there, so it's sort of hard. We're not looking for any special type of people. We want a good mixture so the people get the most out of each other. But yes. I would, for example, start a pitch with, do you ever get constructive feedback on something you do? Constructive feedback, okay? That's not the main pitch, but that's one of the big things.
Yes, definitely. Well, feedback was one of the subjects. Tonight, we just addressed the career advancer, okay? Yeah. But we might want to address other targets. It could be students, it could be retirees, it could be the younger professionals, not the career advancer, but the ones who have just started into their professional life. Their needs and goals are a little bit different. Yeah. So of course the pitch would be different as well. Tonight, we went into the nitty-gritty of a really strong person here, a really strong personality, okay? Someone who's really needing something specific. But of course, there are other ways of starting the pitch, depending on who you're trying to attract. If you say, well, we're not looking to attract anyone in particular, that is a problem when it comes to creating an effective pitch, because you cannot be everything to everybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, in theory, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that. Anybody, no matter what they're doing or want to do in the future, they all need the same base. And this is my opinion again. They still need the base. You know, you can't, if I come with conflict right away, okay, well, I don't have any conflict. Or why are you talking about conflict? I want to talk about speaking.
Yes, speaking is an excellent one. Yeah. I just gave you a couple of examples. One was with conflict resolution, and the other one was with about improving one's speaking abilities, communication, really, not speaking, communication. I could have chosen other subjects as well. So it's not mandatory. I mean, these are just examples, okay? So you can choose whichever one subject that you feel fits best your club, fits best your goals, your club goals, okay? So it doesn't absolutely have to be conflict resolution. This is just an example for that particular persona.
Now, I'm not putting your ideas down. I'm just giving more of them.
Yes,
different
absolutely.
ones. Yeah. So I'm not complaining about anything. I'm just saying, I'm saying.
Well, thank you, Alexandra. Yes, I understand, but you're absolutely right. You can start, I mean, you can pitch any kind of target, any kind of groups that you want, and you really need to study that group in order to understand what their needs are, so that you can create a message which is targeted to those needs. And it can be any group that you want to target.
I just want to add something, and as I understood, Alexandra has a target group also. Her target is the people who needs Toastmasters. That's also a group of target.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
That's a big group. How are you going to address a big group like that?
I mean, if I was going to a specific company to give a speech about Toastmasters, then of course it would be something different. But if I have guests, or if my clubs have guests coming, you know, I have no idea. You know, I can't ask them, what is your goal right now? What do you need help with? I can give them ideas, but it's sort of impossible within just a few minutes time to get that much information out of them.
Well, I really suggest a reading of that study by Toastmasters International, who has identified the 6 personas, because it's going to be very easy to, you know, with a little bit of practice and a few questions in the beginning when you get the guest, to understand where that person might fall into which one of those personas. There may be also someone who does not fit any of those, okay? But in general, you will get one of those. And if you understand what their goals are, what their needs are, you will be more effective in talking to them, because you will be able to make them feel that they are understood. Because otherwise, what we end up doing is we talk about Toastmasters, about what is important to us in Toastmasters in general. For me, for instance, I joined Toastmasters because I was terrified in speaking in front of a group of people, and I lost a big business opportunity because of this. Okay. So I feel that if I tell someone who comes in how I was helped by Toastmasters in this, they kind of relate to it. But not everybody has that problem. I might do well with some people, but not with everybody. That's why Toastmasters International has done that study, that marketing study there, to understand who their audience is and what their needs are. Okay, okay. I see there's more questions, Denise.
Thank you, Paola. Especially thank you for the great presentation. I want to ask, the examples that the visual examples you were showing have very nice pictures of people, but they are generic photos also due to the, to the rights of using people's pictures. What do you think? Shall we use not that perfect, but real people, real members pictures? Or should we choose that better quality, looking perfectly kind of pictures, but more professional pictures?
That's a very good question, Denise. Actually, for social, it depends which social media we're talking about, which social platform. If we're talking about Facebook, I would suggest that you actually use real people. The more real the people are, the better.
Instagram?
Instagram, I would, I don't know. I would choose most likely something a little bit more polished as well. The same for LinkedIn, perhaps. But this is not a rule. This is just the way I feel about this. For instance, but I mean, for Facebook, really, it's very, very important to have club pictures of people that are doing things, updates of what's happening in the club. We are not addressing this tonight, but there has to be a certain mix to what you post. It can't be just pictures. I mean, can't be posts all like the ones I've shown you. Those are specific kind of posts that needs to be balanced out with what's happening in the club. Because when that persona there will come and visit your page, your Facebook page, they will want to look at what is actually happening in that club. That's what social media is all about. Otherwise, they will go to a website where everything is more polished. So yes, you can use posts like that, which are polished, especially for LinkedIn and Instagram, but then you will want to also add in pictures of what's really happening in your club. They want to see real people. They want to see who they're going to meet when they go there.
And especially in Instagram, do you recommend we have, for example, the polished post, and then, in the same post, the second photo or the third photo, real people from the club and maybe a graphic design of the theme of the meeting or something? Or shall we do all these three different posts as separate posts?
Well, you can do both. It depends on what really you find that works for you in your area, in where you are. Not all audiences are the same, so a little bit of experimenting here is helpful. If you are doing the carousel, so you're going to put one picture and then you're going to add other ones so that people can scroll. I'm talking about Instagram here. Then you might want to choose the subject. Like in this case, say maybe we're talking about improving communication skills, okay? And you are addressing a specific audience, then the next pictures, the ones from your club, would have to kind of tie into the main picture in the beginning, not just be separate different ones that do not connect with the original post. Because if it's me looking and I don't know Toastmasters, I don't know anything, but I am attracted to that particular polished post that you created, and then I scroll and then I turn around the carousel, I would like to see what you do in your club that supports that claim there in the first picture, that supports what was said in that initial picture there. And the saying goes, another thing that I have not mentioned is about campaigns. Campaigns can last a certain amount of time. It doesn't, so if I'm addressing the career advancer, I might do that for the first 3 months. And then I can move on to another one. Or I can do the career advancer 1 week, every other week, and then a second persona. Maybe this ties into Alexandra as well. You don't have to be just one track mind, just do one thing for the longest period of time. you can go, for time slots. Like maybe you can do the first 3 months from September to Christmas, you would address these couple of targets. And so you alternate your posts.
And what should be the frequency of posts, especially for Instagram?
Well, again, this is also experimental. You really need to see how many people will like and share what you do. And then you would get also a feeling for how often you need to post for these people. Social media, the post, the better in general. We also need to take into account that we are BPPRs or PRs, whatever, and we are volunteers. We're not an agency. We're not a marketing agency, usually, in clubs. Therefore, there has to be a balance there between what can be done, what is the best, and what can be done by a BPPR, what can be asked of a BPPR in terms of time and effort.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Silvina?
Yes, thanks, Paola. I think my question was a little bit addressed already before. So if we have several target audience, several personas, you think it's better to do campaigns like, okay, 1 month or few weeks, we focus on one persona, and after we look at a second persona, and 1 month after another persona? Or is it better to mix like 1 week, one persona, the next week, the other one?
I like the mix personally. There is no hard and fast rule, okay? The only rule that I would like to mention is that it does take time. So if you're addressing one persona, just 1 or 2 posts in general will not do. You really need to carry this through for a few months at least. Even throughout the year, maybe 1 year, you decide that you're going to address 3 or 4 personas, you alternate them, but you continue on for several months, okay? Because it's consistency that really tends to give results with social media.
Okay.
And then all other pictures that you do of your club, etc., those really need to be posted at least once a week. Because that's what social media, especially Facebook, is all about, and Instagram. People want to see what's happening. What are the real people doing? So you have your advertisement, your pitch there, and then you show them what it looks like in reality, because people, of course, can tell the difference between a made-up post like the ones I've shown you, the polished ones, and then what's actually happening.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Hassan. Hassan.
Oh, hello again. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
That's great. I just want to ask, Paola, we have punished for the usage of a photo 5 years ago, in our posts, that we didn't get any permission from the owner of the photo. And those years, I don't know who posted that. And now we are facing $750 of punishment to misusage of that photo. And one of our members that they are using their, how can I say, they are working as a legal advisor, and they are trying to solve this problem with this agent, because what we learned from them is that was an agent, and they were tracking all the photos of that person in the world, and then when they catch someone, and then they just send some official papers that pay $50. And 5 years ago, they started to negotiate with $50, but they didn't get any response from our clubs. So now they are claiming $750. So how can we move forward to explain that we are an NGO, we are not a company, or our aim is not use this kind of photos, but some years before, some of our members used that. So do you have any suggestion that we can write them directly as an official way? So I just wanted to ask you, because Dennis told that maybe if we use the pictures from directly from Google or somewhere, we need to so careful about their rights of use.
Absolutely. This is one of the very important things that all VPPRs should be aware of, is that pictures that you find on Google are not to be used, okay? Because most likely they are copyrighted, or they can raise claims like the ones you just talked about. There are websites like Pixabay and others, and Unsplash, I can write a list of them, where pictures are free to use. And they have all sorts of pictures that you can use there. They have millions of pictures, and they're free. Of course, you can also use those of Toastmasters International. They have them on their brand portal there, okay? So there's lots of pictures for free that you can use. The only suggestion that I have here is that you write Toastmasters International for advice on this. I okay, cannot give you advice personally. You need to, what I would do is I would contact the PRM, this year's PRM. I believe it is Tarek Desir, right, Elena? You can,
yes, Tarek, I know.
Mm-hmm, oh, you Tarek. Know Tarek. Okay, so you contact
I know Tarek personally.
Okay, fantastic. Then just write him a message and explain to him the situation, and see if he can contact Toastmasters International on your behalf, or maybe you write an email together and see what they say about this, what they can do, because, you know, we cannot do something personally in this.
Okay, thank you so much, Paola.
You're welcome. Just remember, Hassan, don't ever use Google Pictures. They look
yes,
like
I know.
Free.
Yes, indeed, I have premium Canva account, so I'm just downloading everything from Canva, and I know that rights of usage, this kind of photos, pictures, or any vectors that are obligated to any approval. So I know, and I am aware of this, but this happened 5 years ago or something like that. So I couldn't explain anything to this agent. So I just wanted to ask you, and thank you for your help.
Yeah, I would contact the PRM, because he's the person who can really get in touch with Toastmasters International and go, you know, and be an in-between your club and the organization. I'm sure that, you know, if they can, they will support you.
Thank you again. I will do it. And I will let you all know about the process.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
So thank you all for being here today. I think we don't have any other questions. And just a reminder, and for our members, if we use photos from our members, we need permission for that. So we don't use photos just like that. And I would like finally to thank you all for being here today. I would like to thank Paola for that interesting session we had today, and I think we learned a lot. And for that, I would like to announce the end of our workshop today. May you have a nice evening. And if you are waiting for your vacation, all the best for them.
Well, thank you so much, Elena, for inviting me. I will be sharing the PDF with you, so you can, you know, forward it to those who want to read it. There is all the links of the material which I have published. Someone has asked me to use the personas. Let me see what the message is. What is it? I can't find it now.
Also the link of the article or the study that you were telling.
Yes, it's in that PDF. You can see it there, so you have all the cards for the different persona. I think it's Alexandra who says, I would like use personal photos. I would say use
no. I wrote that I think it's better with personal Toastmaster meetings photos than having photos of anybody.
Yeah. Okay. I see it now. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I just have a question. Do you have my email? Can you send it to me by email or something, or messenger or something? This because I don't belong to your district.
Oh, yeah. Just write me your email here, and I will send it to you.
Okay, I'll write it on the chat.
Oh, Elena wants to
Alexandra,
say
you will receive, because you have participated here in this workshop, so you will receive all the material. Don't worry.
Okay, good. Okay, I wrote it anyway.
Oh, all right. So that's fine.
No matter which country district you are, you will receive the material because you have participated today in our session.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening. Have a great summer, and see you around. Mwah.